Welcome back. I hope you're doing great. As a part of this video, we'll look at comparison commands in Linux. What is this comparison all about? Are we trying to compare apple with orange here? Why do we really need to have a comparison done in Linux? Let us take an example. So, if you're using one application, that application may be generating the log files on a daily basis, isn't it? It does. So today we have a file called log file 1, and yesterday we have a log file 2. If we want to look at how the application is behaving between these 2 days, we got to do a comparison, isn't it? That is where comparison comes into picture. In Linux, we can do comparison by using different commands like diff, cmp, comm, and there are other few options, but we'll focus on a couple of important comparison commands in Linux. First command is diff command. What is this diff command? Diff command is used to display the differences in the files by comparing them line by line. When you compare file 1 and file 2, it compares these two files line by line and tells us what are the differences. So, important aspect of the diff command is it tells us which lines in one file need to be changed to make them identical. So, idea here is it will tell us which lines need to be modified to make both the files identical. In a way, it is helping us to find the differences between the two files. In diff command, it uses special symbols and instructions that are required to make the files identical. Which are those special symbols? They are add, change, and delete. We do have some options in diff command, like one of the option is context. The second option is unified. The third option is case insensitive. And we do have an option like version. It just display the version of the diff command. We look at them as a part of our hands-on video. As we already indicated, diff command displays the differences in the files, comparing the files line by line. For example, here we have a file called blissmas.txt, and we do have another file called academy.txt. When we use a diff command on these two files, file 1, file 2, you can see by using its symbols, it is telling us how do we make this file identical with this file. As we discussed earlier, it will help us to make those files identical by options. This is add. This is in a way change. How do you change the contents of one file to make that identical to another file is what displayed by diff command. If you would have looked at the earlier result, there is no much context there. But if you want to look at the differences in the context mode, you can go ahead and look at them by using a context mode. All we have to do is say diff and -c. It will display the contents in a context mode. You can see these two lines indicate the information about the files. and other aspects are similar to what we discussed earlier. If you want to look at the comparison between the two files where you don't need much of a context, yet you need a summary, then you can use a unified mode. If you see, it doesn't display much of a redundant information, but it displays the information in a concise form. By default, diff command is case sensitive. But if you want case insensitive comparison, you can include -i as a part of your diff. That will not worry about the whether case is sensitive or not. Wonderful. What we'll do now is we'll look at all these as a part of our hands-on. I am logging into Ubuntu. If you have not installed Ubuntu, please install the Ubuntu and log into Ubuntu. In this case, what I have done is I have created a folder called comparison in a directory called Unix. If I say pwd, you can see the path where I am here is home, Mahanta, Unix, and comparison. So here I have created a couple of files called actor1.txt and actor2.txt. Let us see what are the contents of these two files. Text, I have Aishwarya, Alia, Akshay, and Amir. If I look at the contents of actor2.txt, I have Yesh, Aishwarya, Alia, Akshay, Amir. Except one, like both the files are same. Let us use diff command on these two files. It is so simple. If you see here, all it is trying to say is add Yesh to the first file. As we said, there are symbols to make the two files identical. All diff command is trying to say is to make these two files identical, add Yesh to the first file. That makes both of them identical. In a way, it is trying to show the differences to make them identical. Let us look at the diff command with context. There you go. When you look at the diff command with the context, you see first two lines indicate the information about files. So asterisk means the first file, hyphen indicates the second file, and all other things are more or less similar. And you can see other aspects like Yesh, you have to add Yesh to the first file to make it identical to the second file. So if you want to get this in a concise manner, all I have to do is you have to go with the unified option. It is concise. What is this concise? You may say, is it really concise? If you get lot of differences, unified option gives you the result in a concise manner. The last option, what we want to see is -i. So in this case, we don't have any differences in terms of case sensitivity. So if you want the diff command to ignore the case sensitivity, in that case, you can go ahead and use -i. Wonderful. We looked at the comparison between the two files by using a diff command. You have a wonderful time.